Hello, and welcome to my Xayah Elderwood guide. Xayah Elderwood is a strong comp because the Elderwood buff allows your multiple carries to be both tough and strong. Over this guide, we're going to be going over the composition itself, how to pick out chosens for the comp, great items and how to itemize for the comp, the early, mid, and late game for the comp, as well as some positioning tips. Alright, let's move on to the difficulty of the comp. This comp is an easy comp to play, and that's because when you're doing your big rolldown at level 8, you're looking for the same core units every game, which makes it easy to manage your rolldown. This comp is also not very item dependent, because you play 4 main item holders within the comp, and all of them hold different types of items, allowing you to play whatever you've slammed in the early game. Let's go ahead and take a look at the composition. Xayah Elderwood is a fast 8 comp, which means that you're going to be looking to be level 8 by stage 5-1. Let's look at the core units of this comp. Core units are Xayah, Rakan, Veigar, Lulu, Aurelion Sol, Ornn, and 2 flex units, leaving you at 6 Elderwood and 3 Mage. Your flex units are going to depend on what chosen you've picked up throughout the course of the game. If I've hidden an Elderwood chosen, I like to flex in Aatrox in one of my flex spots because he helps line up for Aurelion Sol while bringing them close for Xayah. Along with that, I like to keep in other frontline units or utility units such as Sejuani or Morgana. If I haven't hidden Elderwood chosen yet, I'll go ahead and play Nunu or Maokai so I can make sure I have 6 Elderwood. Along with that, if I'm missing Ornn, I'll also play either Nunu or Maokai to make sure that I'm hitting that. So some games I'm playing Nunu and Maokai in my composition. Along with that is a Mage chosen, which lets us play 5 Mage if given the chance. This is going to be a really strong power spike if you're given the chance and want to take that extra damage. Here is my chosen pick list. I prioritize Elderwood chosen over everything else because it gives my comp that strength it needs while letting me play other flexible units. Along with that, I also really like Mage chosen because 5 Mage is a strong addition to the composition. Finally, if I can't get one of those, I really do like Vanguard chosen for very strong frontline or adding in that extra Morgana chosen because she's just a strong unit overall. Now on to items. This comp can use most items very well, and you should be slamming strong items early and moving them to the appropriate item holder as you get to the late game. There are 4 main item holders in this comp, and they all use different types of items. Starting with Xayah, she really likes attack speed and attack damage items. The most important item to have on her is Hand of Justice and Deathblade. Other strong items on her are shown below. Next is Asol. He carries mana and magic damage items. Great Asol items are going to be Gunblade, Deathcap, and Jeweled Gauntlet, as well as some of these. Next is Lulu, who likes to carry aura items like Chalice and Zeke's. Finally is Ornn, who will carry tank items. Most importantly, he will not be our Sunfire Cape holder. That's going to be Rakan. Rakan is great at spreading Sunfire Cape, so make sure when you build that, you put it on him. For carousel pick order, this is how I have it ordered. I like it here because it builds into Hand of Justice and lots of Asol items very well. So it's a great flexible item. Then I like Rod, because Rod builds into both attack speed items and magic damage items. Next is Glove, because although I don't like building a lot of defensive items in this comp, I do find that some of the more important damage items incorporate Glove, such as Hand of Justice and Jeweled Gauntlet. Now on to early game. Early game, we're going to be following the general leveling guide of being level 4 by stage 2-1, level 5 by stage 2-5, and being level 6 by stage 3-2. Now you're going to be wanting to play your strongest board, but that's really general. So let's go ahead and give you some best practices for playing your strongest board in the early game. You're going to want to play synergies. You're going to want to make items when you have 3 or more components. You're going to want to be playing reasonable chosens and not being too picky with your chosens. And you're going to want to be using traditional carries. We'll be going over transitional carries a little bit more in the mid game. On to mid game and holding units. In the early game, I don't want to be holding on to units that I'm not playing, because it makes it hard to build econ. In the mid game, I'm going to be picking up units because it's still easy to find them and I've had some econ built up, so I'm not going to be losing out on gold. As for late game, I will be hard to find 1 and 2 cost units when I'm doing my roll down on 8. So I don't want to be putting myself in a position where I need to hit a 2 cost or 1 cost champion while rolling on level 8. On to mid game and transitional carries. A transitional carry is an early or mid game unit that we can put items on that we can then sell later to move those items to our late game carries. In this comp, we're going to be looking for units that can carry items for Xayah and Asol. Good early and mid game units that can hold Xayah items are Yasuo, Tristana, Zed, Kalista, and Kindred. As well for Asol, we have good early game carries such as Diana, Twisted Fate, and Brand, and late game carries as Katarina, Akali, and Darius. Now we're going to be looking at some mid game compositions that both use transitional units as well as have high synergy. So the first one we're looking at is going to be a Divine Duelist Cultist build that has Kalista and Twisted Fate as item holders. Next, we're going to be going ahead and looking at this Tahm Kench, Maokai, Pyke, Kindred, Diana build, seeing that Kindred and Diana both give spirit and are great item holders for Xayah and Asol. Finally, we have Dragon Soul, Vanguard, Sharpshooters, which is going to be a great comp that even scales well into level 6 as you can add Warlord. Here we're going to have Brand and Tristana be our item holders for Xayah and Asol. Finally, we have late game. Late game starts on stage 5, and your goal here is at stage 5-1, you want to roll for 2-star Xayah, 2-star Asol, and 1-star Ornn. Once you hit that, we're going to start saving up gold, because our comp doesn't really get stronger at 8, unless we hit level 9, or we really need to spend gold because we're about to get eliminated. Lastly, I want to go over some general positioning. So, I default towards positioning towards the left, where we have Ornn, Nunu, Aatrox, Xayah, Rakan, Asol, Lulu, and Veigar right here. I want to make sure that I have my Xayah close to the front line, so when she shoots out her arch over here, she's going to be able to hit a lot of the front line. I also have Asol right next to Aatrox in this line, so when Aatrox pulls from the 2 farthest directions, he pulls towards this center area right here. He's going to be able to line up for Asol and line up for Xayah. As for flipping it to the right, I position it like this. The only reason I do this is to avoid like shrouds or general CC. Let's go ahead and look at some more specific examples of how I position my compositions. So the first one on the left here is going to be how I position against assassins. I bring them all back a row so that the assassins aren't able to jump all the way behind my carries and they get stuck on each other and have to fight through my front line. The second example is splash damage. This is when my opponent has a Nico or a Kale on the line, and I'm not really worried about them jumping into my backline. In this case, I want to go ahead and separate Asol while keeping Xayah towards the front. That way, if I were to get hit by a burst of damage, it wouldn't be killing both my Asol and my Xayah, and I'd still have damage going through the fight. And that's the end of my Xayah Elderwood guide. If you learned something, please go ahead and like the video, because that's what YouTube cares about. Let me know in the comments what you want me to make more content about, and if you liked it, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you for watching.